Alright, we're watching Renya. We've been playing Widow. This is Platinum 5, and it's on PC. For starters, I've watched every single one of your Widow reviews, and some from Spilo. Spilo? I can never remember. I don't know if my time as a support helped me, or some way or another, but I've been winning the majority of my sniper maps recently if it's a regular sniper duel match. The moment they go Sombra plus Genji or something, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. I basically can't take off angles and can't grapple shot unless I literally stand my team, so if my team is already losing, I couldn't get a kill. Is a solution really to just click heads, even with bad sightlines? If they go Sombra plus Widow, it's even more of a nightmare. I understand you can't teach aim via VOD reviews, that's why my goal of this review is to get to the point where I don't have to worry about my decision making anymore, which I'm horrible at. So, this is actually an interesting game. Number one, very good news. Your aim is great. Like, your aim is so much better than your level. Like, it's like crazy how good your aim is. I think your aim is like easily, if this was like PC, NA, Diamond, like you'd have no problem playing in Diamond, right? I would say even like high Diamond, I don't think would be an issue at all. Your aim is like definitely a strength for you, and that's probably why when you get conventional sniping games, you perform really well because your aim is really good. Right? Like, your aim is really, really strong, and we're going to see occasions of that over and over again. That's kind of really great point number one. Number two is I think you're generally really aggressive about getting lots of shots, so shot quantity, but also pretty quality shots, right? You're not just firing off like at bad angles, etc. You're generally doing a really good job trying to get both a lot of shots and high quality shots. Shot quality in this for Widow is defined as shots where the enemy team is not aware of you, they're not dodging, right? They're moving predictably, and you get easier shots versus people who are like actively AD strafing trying to dodge you. So I think that's really good too, right? Good shot quality, good shot quantity, right? Means you get a lot of, and plus great aim means you get a lot of kills. I mean, that looks really good. I think there's two things that you're struggling with. Number one is, and this is the easier one to deal with, you need to like not have shields be such a problem for you, right? Like, if you see a shield like a Sigma shield, just don't shoot it. And unless the shield's literally about to break, you do so little damage to that, it's just not worth your time. Like, you should basically always, like, if Sigma shields you off, just immediately change angles, right? Because Sigma takes time to release the shield and then put it back up again, and that's going to give you 4 to 8 seconds to shoot somebody else. And a Sigma's not going to spend all his time like constantly repositioning shield anyway, right? He's got other stuff that he needs to do. So, like, just immediately switch the angle as like a default move whenever he shoots you off. Now, granted, that means you have to play a suboptimal position because you're probably playing an optimal spot, right? For example, on Havana over here, like, you'll be playing in like upper windows. If he shields off their window, play another window or drop low ground or like go main or like, literally anything to get you another angle in the back line where the Sigma is not a problem for you, or the Sigma shield is not a problem for you. Same thing if you're playing against Ryan, right? If the Ryan's shielding, like, just go to another angle right away, right? Or if you can game sense it, you're like, hey, the Ryan can't keep a shield forever, my Bastion's shooting him, then you'll get an opportunity. But generally speaking, like, play around shields, right? Like, literally around them. So like, avoid shields and also don't shoot tanks, generally speaking. Especially the more durable tanks, right? Like the Reinhardts, the Sigmas, the Orisas of the world, generally not worth shooting, right? Like, there are squishier tanks like Zarya or Junker Queen where it actually is worth shooting them because headshotting them at full power can completely change their survivability. And obviously there are times where you should still kill a tank, like if the Reinhardt's half health, yeah, go ahead and headshot them. But like, generally speaking, if the tank is full health, don't shoot them. But the reason why I note this is there's like a few times this game where you're clearly shooting the tank where like you just go find someone else to kill because you're not going to be able to do an appreciable amount of damage to the tank. So, we talked about shields. That's the first thing to improve, right? Shield and tank, and just avoiding the tank as much as you can. Number two, and this is really going to be the focus of this video, is how do you deal with Widow counterpicks, right? When they go dive, when they go Sombra, how do you deal with it? And for starters, I'm making clear, I am not a high-level Widow player, right? So the advice that you get from me may not be the same thing as Widows. But like, when I think about, like, when I play, right, at high ranks, right, I play like, for example, Winston at GM, right? When I play Winston and I'm playing against Widows, what makes it really hard for me is when the Widow knows what I'm going to do, and they're playing someplace where it's already kind of difficult for me to get to them, and as soon as I expend resources to get to them, they immediately reposition. That's incredibly frustrating as Winston, right? Where it's like, oh, you're not a convenient jump away. Like, I have to walk out in the open, take 100, 200 damage of shit damage, then I can jump to you because of how far away you are. Then when I get to you, you immediately grapple away. Well, now I just took a ton of damage and wasted my jump and probably wasted my bubble, and all I did was force out your grapple, right? Like, that's an example of, like, how frustrating it can be to play against Widow, even when you're playing Dive Because, like, nobody has infinite mobility, right? So, like, if you force them to use resources to try to get to you, that's a problem. But every single hero has a different way that they deal with Widow, or just don't deal with them at all. So, I think there's a lot of Widow-specific game sense here that, since I think you relatively recently switched to Widow, you don't have, which is, what is my game plan for dealing with every hero in the game? And I'm serious when I mean every single hero. And that's not exclusive to the Widow, right? I think every hero, you should know that. Like, if I'm playing Ana, how do I deal with Venture? How do I deal with Sombra? How do I deal with Wrecking Ball? How do I deal with Reinhardt? Like, that's what top-level play is that you already have in your head a script that you prefer to play by default against every single hero in the game because you have played that matchup hundreds, if not thousands of times, and you understand what is effective and what's not. That's what experience is, you know? So, going back to Widow, right? Like, obviously, in this game, we can only analyze what you're facing off against, and we'll talk through those matchups from my perspective. Again, not as a high-level Widow player, but like just from general game experience and knowledge and theory, like how I think you should generally deal with this with this matchup. But again, it's going to be different because Overwatch is a situational game for different heroes in different situations with different compositions, right? With different teammates, etc., etc. So like everything here is going to be some degree of situational aspect, but we're going to try to go through it kind of piece by piece. So, I think what's best is, before we get into the replay, let's talk like general theory. How do you want to deal with the heroes? So let's start with Genji. Okay? So what's the general problem with Genji? Well, Genji just destroys you at close range, right? He does a ton of damage, he does it reliably, he dashes to you relatively quickly, like very, very quickly, and he has deflect at any time, which can cause you to die at any range, right? Because he can deflect a headshot, a scope headshot, and kill you at long range. And he's also fairly evasive, especially at close range, where it can be quite hard to hit him. At long range, he can still poke you down with projectiles, which have no damage fall off, which is also a problem. So Genji's just a really annoying hero for Widow to deal with in general. Basically, any time the Genji is looking at you, as long as he has deflect, he is a threat to your life, right? Either he's a threat to your life because of the shurikens, right, which can, if they triple headshot you, do 162 damage, which is almost all of your health, or he's a threat to deflect a shot back to you, which means the only times you should really be trying to shoot him is when he is not aware of you or he does not have deflect. But it is important to shoot him in those moments in time, because the general idea of dealing with Genji is we want to chip him all the time. All the time. Because you can't really find an angle where the Genji can't face off against you if the Genji wants to face off against you, right? He can always find an angle where, like, wherever you're looking, he can be poking you with shurikens. But I want to constantly be chipping him every chance I get in order to make sure that he can't actually do his job. Genji's primary issue is that he actually needs a lot of sustain to do his job for people who are regularly, reliably hitting him. It's why Genji really hates playing against Winston, for example, right? Winston doesn't do a lot of damage, but Winston doesn't miss. And, for example, Cassidy against Genji, like, you could see a Cassidy who misses 4 or 5 shots in the Genji in a row. Like, that happens. And the Genji can feast on that matchup, right, and do a lot. Or the Cassidy starts hitting shots, the Genji can deflect and dash away, and then he's safe. But Winston just constantly chips him away for like 70 damage a second. He's like, sooner or later, you're going to die, which immediately forces the Genji to retreat, and obviously he can't deflect the Tesla cannon. So, for Widow, it's like kind of the same deal, right? If the Genji is going to be a problem, number one is you shouldn't necessarily be trying to kill the Genji or shoot the Genji as your primary target because of deflect if he's aware of you. If he's not aware of you, 100% try to kill him, and or just try to chip him in general, right? Even half-powered shots, which have no chance of killing you in a headshot if he does deflect it, are really annoying for him because he has to go back to his supports to get healing. And constantly chipping at him while you do your other things, that's helpful. Now, to be clear, I am not saying you should chip him over doing something more important. if I have the choice of killing an Ana or chipping the Genji, kill the Ana, obviously, right? Like, I'm not saying exclusively chip the Genji and you're going to win the game. I'm just saying any chance you get, if there isn't a higher value thing, recognize that chipping Genjis for their health is super annoying because it reduces his margin for error and can make it really hard for him to get dash reset to kill somebody. So, as Genji, general idea is, look, he's dangerous at all ranges, but he can't insta-kill me at long range unless I shoot him. But, like, if I'm stationary or moving very slowly while scoped, right? Scoped is practically stationary for a lot of respects. If I'm scoped or stationary, then his shurikens can actually be super dangerous even at long range. So I have to be aware of where he is. I need to chip him when possible, but otherwise kind of ignore him and try to get kills. So that's kind of Genji. So let's think about Ana. For Ana, Ana's a great target for you, right? Because she's super stationary, right? When she's scoped, she's a relatively large hitbox even when she is not scoped. And she plays at ranges where, like, she's not really a threat to you typically. She can 3-shot you with her dart gun, right? But, like, you have a lot of time generally to react to that. She can 3-shot you with a dart gun, and if she's using her dart gun, you can just, like, hard scope and kill her, when she'll shoot you twice and you'll just kill her. Her grenade is typically not a problem for you because you're really far away. She could hit you with it, like, it could be a surprise grenade, but generally you're not going to get hit by grenades. Her sleep dart is a problem, though. If she sleeps you, then you could potentially die. So, if we think about it from that perspective, look, Ana's probably a primary target for me. I don't want to overexpose to Ana and other people, but I'm happy to take the duel against the Ana, right? So Ana's just basically food for you. So, Pharah. Well, we're going to ignore Pharah because you kill the Pharah right away and then she switches to Sombra. So we're actually going to think of this as Sombra, right? So for Sombra, this is where things get interesting, right? How do we deal with the Sombra? Well, first of all, if you get hit by virus, right? Virus is death. So if we get hit by virus, right? Virus is 100 damage over 4 seconds, and then if you're hacked, it's 2. So, but like the thing is, like, you're generally not going to get hacked by Sombra because there's no real reason for her to hack you, which she could just kill you. So Sombra is like a very dangerous target if she can virus you at close. I would actually say close. I would say she has to be close. Plus virus is going to be dead, right? And I would say no healer. So no healing plus close range plus virus means you're dead. If we can remove any of these elements, you probably will not die. So for example, if there is no virus, we probably won't die. Even, I would say if there's no virus at close range, you probably won't die. It will likely give you 200 health. It'll likely give you enough time with good reactions that you will survive long enough that a support will eventually come save you, or you can grapple away, right? So that's assuming she misses her virus or her virus is on cooldown. If she's not at close range, you're definitely not going to die, right? So virus is going to do 100 damage, but like she does so little damage at range, like you can get the cover easily and you're not going to die very clearly. If you're healing, if you're getting healed, you're obviously not going to die. Sombra doesn't do that much damage, especially not enough burst damage that like pretty much any healer in the game, other than, I mean, Zenyatta may not be able to save you, but like Lucio Amp would easily save you, Mercy would save you, Kiriko would save you, like blah blah blah. Like all the other supports in the game easily save you as long as you're healing, right? Other than Zenyatta, I think you're basically good here. So if we think about it again, Sombra needs all 3 of these pieces to come together to get the kill. So all we need to do is focus on how do we eliminate these pieces. Well, for no healing, the most obvious one is play near your supports, right? If you're near a support, right, especially if you tag ID healing like during the fight or right before the fight, so they look at you, like when you hear her uncloaking or something like that, like that's an option to immediately make sure that you don't die. Number 2, be farther away. Well, this is kind of interesting. You don't have a lot of control over this because Sombra is invisible, right? But you can control angles of approach with Venomine, Venomine, it's called? With Venomine, right? So you can control angles of approach with your mind to prevent her from getting close to you easily. That is an option, but generally speaking, you don't have a lot you can do about this. So for Virus, this is interesting, right? So the easiest thing is that Virus is a relatively hard ability to land when the enemy target is trying to dodge, right? Because it moves very slowly through the air. So the key thing about Virus is just don't be stationary or scoped. If you're not stationary or scoped, she cannot reliably hit you with virus. And this is the part where like a lot of game sense comes in, which is, where is the Sombra right now, and what are the odds that she is going to be next to me, able to virus and then kill me? And this is something that you actually can really strongly control in all scenarios. So for example, at the beginning of the game, if you're an offense, let's say you're an offense in Havana, and you're coming out of the doors, the Sombra could be anywhere. Like literally she could be like 1 meter away from the doorway right now and about to kill you. So you have to play like that, right? Where you don't hard scope anything until you determine where the Sombra is, or you have a support who's definitely going to be able to heal you right now. So for example, you're getting dove by Winston, even if you're next to your Ana and your Lucio, you may not get healing because you're getting dove, right? But like if everybody else is far away, then I'm fine taking the scope because my supports are likely going to be able to heal me. Now, the thing about after the Sombra reveals herself, which she will eventually, because the Sombra gives her team 0 value when she is not shooting or hacking or whatever it ends up being, right? Like just simply existing, other than pinging, is not any value for the Sombra. So the Sombra's the one who's actually on the clock here to get some value. She will eventually unscope and shoot someone, you or a teammate. At which point your whole team will shoot her, and then you will force her away. Kills are unlikely, unless she screws up. You force her away. Okay, great. That now gives you a window of something like 5 to 15 seconds to then start shooting, right? So after, and like 5 to 15 is because it depends on the supports nearby, if there's health pack nearby, like any number of random factors. Then you get your 5 to 15 seconds of free shooting, and then you could hard scope all you want and like focus on trying to get kills. Then the Sombra's going to be back in position somewhere near you. Now you have to go back to no hard scoping, right? Maybe brief scopes in the right situations, but other than that, I'm literally staying unscoped, constantly looking around to figure out where the Sombra is, right? And then situationally taking shots briefly and going back to actively dodging. That is the way that you beat Sombra, right? Is just constantly being aware that she exists on the map somewhere and assuming the worst case scenario that could possibly happen. For example, if you force Sombra to translocate away, she could not possibly be next to you, right? It is literally mechanically impossible for her to be next to you. So you don't have to worry about her being next to you, ambushing you with virus anymore, right? If you see your teammate who force her away, or you see her shooting at a teammate, now you know she's not next to you, and you can do whatever you want, right? So just constantly being aware of her, that's the key to not giving her an easy virus. Because again, you need all 3 elements to consistently die to Sombra. You have to not get healing, she has to be close to you, like within 10 meters for sure, but like usually 5-ish meters, right? So she has to be close to you, and she needs to land virus. If any of those pieces are not there, you probably will not die, and the Sombra will have wasted her ambush. That's really important. Okay, so we covered Sombra. I will say that you're probably already noting here is, what do I do when Sombra plus other things makes my life difficult? The short answer is it's hard, right? Like, we can already speculate right now. It doesn't exactly happen in this game because the enemy team plays Sigma. But like, if the enemy team plays, for example, Sombra, Genji, or let's say Sombra, Tracer, Winston, you're in for a really bad time, right? Even worse if you add in like Kiriko, Lucio on it. You're in for an extremely bad time. Because the Sombra generally is going to force you to play closer to your team because that gets you more healing. But Winston generally is going to try to push you away from your team as Widow because you don't want to get jumped with the rest of your team. If you're away from your team, Winston jumps you grapple back to your team, you're safe. But if you're with your team, right, and Winston jumps in and he forces you away, now you're isolated without a grapple and you die. So, like, that's why people pick these heroes, is because they're strong against you, and that is a scenario where, like, unless you are a Widow one-trick, I would choose not to play Widow in those situations because it's not going to be fun, right? If the whole enemy team is counterpicking you, yeah, you should probably switch to a different hero, right? And if you're just good enough another hero, then it's great. Like, if you're like, look, I die on Widow, let's say, to heroes that are very evasive but are very squishy, right? Like the Genjis and the Tracers of the world. Well, if you want to play Cassidy and you're like, great, I feast on those heroes, hypothetically, right? I would say a lot of those heroes are, there's no clear counter and there's like a skill based matchup. But you're like, look, you've good aim already, play Cassidy and you roll those heroes, right? So you can open as, this happened to me all the time in tank, right? Is I play Winston, and then the enemy team gets really durable, and then I played a Brawl hero back when, like, for example, Orisa was really strong, or Ramashra, and then I just roll them anyway, because I'm like, yeah, it's no problem, you can force me off Winston if you want, but, like, I'm so good at a set of heroes that, like, my second best hero is way better than your second best hero, and as a result, like, I can still win the game. So, yeah, again, we're going to cover that at the course of the game. So, moving on, right, Zenyatta, right? Zenyatta, right, more food for you. The only thing you have to worry about is a charged up volley, but other than that, like, she basically can't kill you. Her Discord can change breakpoints against you, right? Which, for example, like Genji, Triple Shuriken, does it kill you? It does kill you, right? 25% damage, yeah, at 160, 162, yep. So Genji's Triple Shuriken to the head would actually kill you with Discord. So, like, you'd have to be aware of that. But, like, generally speaking, he's just food for you. Now, Sigma, as we already mentioned, you have to just avoid him. Right? So, for Sigma, like, the shield is a huge problem, and you need to reposition pretty much right away. Right? His shots go pretty far, 23 meters, like, pretty long range for a tank, right? With no damage fall off, is really annoying. And Rock can give you a surprise kill because, it stuns you. So, yeah, I mean, definitely for Sigma, just avoid the heck out of him. Okay. So, we've done a lot of talking without actually looking at the gameplay. So let's look at the gameplay. For starters, I want to point out one little thing, which is kind of a big thing, but it's an example of, like, I don't think you're thinking about this all the time. For Widow, you do not want to reveal your presence, if at all possible, until you take your shot. Okay? Because let's see what you do here. You're going to walk up here, and you're going to walk out, and you're going to throw a mine at, like, headshot level, right? Because you're, like, trying to use this to save from headshot. And then you're going to post up over here. Take a guess right now what my next piece of feedback is. Conveniently timed for me to get water. So my feedback here is, they could have seen you set up. So, Havana, as a reminder, there are windows here. It's one of the few maps where the attackers can see out of the spawn really easily, right? Gibraltar is another one. So, in this situation, when I'm playing offense here, I immediately, whatever I am, I pick my hero, I run up here right away, and I look out the windows. Because knowing what the enemy hero lineup is and their positioning is a huge advantage, right? I could change, for example, what my pick is. Versus if I go out, I'm like, oh, there's a Widow. Now I have to go back in, and maybe I just want to switch to something else I feel more comfortable playing against Widow on. But that costs time, and my team could get picked off or fight a 4v5 while I'm doing that switch, and then we lose momentum and give the other team ult charge. Like, little things like this can actually change the course of a game if the game is close. So if I'm the attacker here, right, I'm going to go up here right away, like literally the second the game spawns, right? So right now, I spawn in, I immediately walk up here, right? All the way up here. And so I'm looking, and like I might be like kind of glancing at my phone or something while I wait, but like I'm definitely looking right now. Well, I would have seen the Sombra right there, and now I just saw you, right? Look up here, and you're gonna see right now, I can see you through the windows this far. And I'm telling you, this makes a difference. Because I immediately know, no matter what hero I'm playing, tank, support, DPS, I now know there was a Widow in the game, and I know you were playing upper windows. Now you might say, oh, Widow's playing upper windows is really common. It is true, but not always. I wouldn't say every game you play in Havana there's going to be a Widow. So like I see this and I might be like, look, for example, if I was a soldier, maybe I was planning on playing long angle. But as soon as I see a Widow, I'm like, oh, don't worry about that. And now I go this way, which is not my preferred angle. But if I know there's a Widow, I know that you have way less damage pressure on my tank because you're a Widow, so I can play this one and maybe burn out the enemy tank, right? And win the sustained battle that way. So little things like that can cost you fights, which cost you games. As an alternative to doing this, you could have, from here, just grappled up. They're not going to hear that this far away, right? And then set up. And then you get basically the same situation, but you never revealed yourself. Now, in the grand scheme of things, what percentage difference does this make on you winning Havana? I don't even know if it's a 5% difference, right? Maybe it's a 1 or 2% difference, which is not nothing, right? If you increase your win rate by 1% by just doing a very simple different move, I would argue that's still worth it. But what's more important here is the mentality of not revealing yourself, right? Being aware, like, look, that's the real mentality I want. Is like, look, when the game starts and you're playing for real, don't reveal yourself unless you're taking your shot, right? And little things like how you path and being aware of what they can see will help you. Okay, so let's go to the actual game itself. So they're going to come out right away. You hear the Pharaoh, so I would immediately be looking up right now, right? So she's going to fire one rocket. You body shot her. Look for the shot. You could have killed her right there, right? Kill her. And it's a headshot, which is great, right? That's an excellent shot. The next thing I want to talk about is being more aggressive. So you have 25 ammo right now. So you have 5 more shots. You do not need to reload. And we're going to see this very consistently, this pattern for you, is after you get a kill, you almost always reload right after. You have 5 shots left, and you have full health. If you didn't have full health, I can understand not peeking. But with full health here, what you should do is you should immediately re-peek. Because what is a very common reaction for players is after a teammate gets picked by Widow, they will either A, see if they can trade out if the Widow is available, but if they don't see the Widow, they're going to do B, which is immediately take cover. Because they're like, oh shoot, this Widow can hit shots, we got to take cover. So you have this short window after killing the Pharah where you can re-peek and potentially get another kill. But for example, you see you go right now, and you see you're still reloading, and you see that, for example, this Genji is out here, not looking, right? And the Zen is going to be available in a second too, right? But like, because you're reloading, you don't get a chance to even take this shot. You could have been scoping coming around the corner right now and taking a shot at the Genji. So that's something I want to point out again, is like, you don't want to be reloading if you don't have to. Even if you have 1 or 2 shots left, if it's going to be a high quality shot, take the shot, then reload. So right now, here's a Sigma. Should you be shooting the Sigma right now? And this goes back to, I don't think so. I think you're really looking for the Zen right now. You see the Zen actually is available behind the cart, but because you're going for the Sigma, you don't even get a chance to take that shot. Like, that chip damage on the Sigma is not going to be particularly relevant right now, right? Especially when Auto can kill the Sigma at range. Like, you're not going to stop the tank from pushing to this corner. That is not like a reasonable thing that is going to happen at any level of like quality play. I mean, the Sigma has way too many tools to make sure that he stays alive and gets the cart to that corner. Your goal is to keep killing the backline, so don't waste shots there. Alright, good shot on the Zen. Looking for the Genji. Genji is not respecting you at all and just takes this kill. This will not happen at higher ranks. Right? Like, he sees you scoping at him for a long time. At higher ranks, it's very likely this is a deflect back against you. Just noting. Like, I think it's scary there to shoot the Genji. Which goes back to, like if the Genji is looking straight at me, I don't want to be taking that shot. Like, right now, I would not even shoot this. At higher rank, I would not shoot this. What I would do is I would actually strafe to the right and try to shoot the Ana. Because I think there's such a high chance that the Genji is going to be deflecting it right back at me. Alright, so go for the Zen. Alright, good job not reloading. Alright, you try to take the shot. Wow, that is actually a really good shield by your Sigma. So the Zen actually charges up. 1, 2, 3, 4 shots. Yeah, I mean, you do dodge it, but like, hypothetically, that could have... wouldn't have killed you. Very close. Alright, so there's the Ana. Okay, so now you know the Ana is in play, right? Though you actually saw her earlier. So you're going to look for the Ana. Okay, fine. I would note is, before I go for the Ana here, I would actually to see whether or not I would confirm the Zen is accessible. So let's actually pause for a second. I want to talk about like peeking, right? In terms of like corners of what's like available. So let's ignore kind of the terrain that's, I wonder if I can get an even blander lineup here. Sure, this will do. Okay, so blue team is you. Actually, let's draw some cover first. So let's say that you have this amount of cover, okay? And all the way out there are 2 targets, all right? So we're gonna say enemy number 1, right? This is red team. Enemy number 1, enemy number 2. And you're the Widow right now, and you want to kill enemy number 1, right? Well, what you'll do here is that you'll step out like this, right? And then you'll look this way and try to kill enemy number 1. What's the problem here? The problem here is that enemy number 2 is able to shoot you at the same time. So now you have to deal with 2 targets to shoot you. Now, obviously, this isn't a problem if enemy number 2 has no long-range damage. Like, they're a Reaper, who cares? But this is like a fundamental concept of all shooters that don't have like really short-range weapons is understanding whether or not I'm actually overexposing myself to multiple targets, because that is a credible threat to you at range for sure. The way that you do this in yeah, great, excellent. The way that you do this in shooters is that you have to clear the angle one at a time. So instead of going all the way out there, you go here, where you're only exposed to number 2. Then you clear number 2. And by clearing, we mean either take the shot and get the kill, or force them back, right, by shooting at them, or confirm that number 2 is not actually there, right? For example, if number 2 has decided to take cover over here, then I don't have to worry about that. Now, I can swing wider and look for number 1. So, I just wanted to get that explanation out of the way, because you can see the same situation's happening right here, right? This is enemy number 1. This is enemy number 2. So if you swing out this way, they both can shoot you. But if you play right here, you can first confirm, hey, is the Zen trying to peek me or not? No? Okay, now I step out and try to kill the Ana at that point in time. Very important when you're fighting against enemies that actually have credible long-range damage threats to you, right? Whether that be Soldier, or Ashe, or Widow, or Hanzo, or whatever, be very careful about over-peeking, right? Because this jump out here, right, is actually quite dangerous. I would also note is that you don't need to jump out because there's no instant kill damage here, right? Jumping is not necessarily helpful for you. You don't want a wide peek. If there's a Widow who's holding their crosshair at the corner, right here, and then you jump over her crosshair, yeah, maybe that's helpful. But an Ana's not going to matter. This Ana, I would never expect an Ana to miss you ever. Like, at Diamond Plus, you will basically never have an Ana miss you as a Widow ever again in your life. Like, we're talking like 99% plus accuracy against Widow. It's just not going to happen. Widow, Ana's like hitbox is gigantic. They're just not going to miss against you. So there's no point trying to dodge the shot. You're just trying to get the shot on her before she can get the cover. So, obviously, Sombra has shown up, and you're going to die here. So let's talk through how can we avoid this. Number 1 is after the Pharah dies, there's a good chance that the Pharah is going to switch heroes, because lots of people do not like playing Pharah against Widow. I don't necessarily think it's unplayable, by the way, as a side note to any Pharah players out there. But lots of people do not like playing Pharah against Widow. So I want to know, keeping track of, hey, if I play, if I kill the Pharah, does she respawn as something else? Because at 344, you can now see the scoreboard and see all their heroes. You'll know whether or not she switches when she respawns. I do this all the time when I'm playing tank, or all heroes, but like, especially when I'm playing tank. If I, for example, play open as Winston, right? And we start the game, and they're playing as Zarya, I dive in, get a ton of value, their Zarya dies. I'm holding scoreboard the whole time, looking to see what the Zarya switches to. Because overwhelmingly, they will switch to something else. And I want to know what that something else is so I can play accordingly. Because if they're playing Roadhog, and I don't realize it, and I step up when I'm, just kind of jockeying for space and see what's going on, I get hooked and die, that's on me for not realizing this switch has happened. Okay? Same thing has to go here for Widow. It's like, after the Spirit dies, I get it, you're taking shots here, okay, you killed Genji, right? You take another shot, right now, I hit the scoreboard. I know it seems crazy, but like right now, I would be hitting the scoreboard because you have 1 second here when you rotate to the left. I hit tab, I look at the scoreboard, I'd be like, look, did the Pharah switch to something? I would immediately realize the Sombra is in play. I would still do everything else here is fine, right? But I would know that the Sombra's in play, right? At this point, you're reloading. You hit the scoreboard again. If you had done it the first time, hit the scoreboard again. Did the Pharah switch to something else? Oh, there's a Sombra? Okay. That means the Sombra just switched. It's been a few seconds. I now need to respect the fact that the Sombra could be advancing on me. Okay? So that's the pre-work here is, it's sort of like, how do I survive if Roadhog hooks me? The way you survive Roadhog hooking you is to not get hooked. Like, by nature, the fact that you got hooked out of position is really bad for you. So we can't start the problem solving from perspective of, I'm in a really bad position, what can I do now? The key is to not get into a bad position. Right? As a reminder, How do you die to Sombra? You have to have no healing, she has to be close to you, and she has to land the hack. Or not the hack, the virus. If she can't hit all 3 pieces, the odds of her killing you drop dramatically. If she hits all 3, her odds of killing you are like 95%. Right? It's really, really hard for you to win that fight. Like, pretty much the only way you can do it is like instantly headshot her. Beyond that, like, she's pretty much going to win every single fight. But if you remove even one of those pieces, the chance of her killing you drops to 40% max, right? And if one of those is a healer, I think the odds of killing you is like 10%, if that. So, again, that has to be, like, our plan. Is like, look, we just got to minimize those aspects. So how do we control for those 3 aspects? Well, number 1, healing. So, I can be like, look, there's a Sombra in play now. Can I get any healing here? I cannot. There's no way my supports will heal me in this situation. But if I play here, I can get healing. Because my Ana is playing over there. So I could get healed here. This is a good situation, right? Or a better situation. And for example, I could then move the mine over here to prevent her from using the stairs, or put it close to me, right? Like over here, so if she translocates up to me, she'll tag it, right? But that already dramatically improves your survival. It's just being near the supports, number 1. Number 2, playing close. Well, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do here that is going to prevent her from getting close to me, okay? She can easily walk through the back stair and get up to me. Again, I can use mine to help control it, but even then, she can translocate up, and that's a huge danger to me. But I can play over here. Because she can't walk to me, right? If the Sombra has to translocate to get up to me, I have a much better chance of being able to deal with the threat, right? It also means she has no escape. Versus here, she can go up here and take a fight with me. Even if she's losing, she can translocate away. I just realized this is like a cool Capitol building in the back. I have never in my Overwatch life realized that this is back there. And ooh, there's like cool skyscrapers in the distance. This is stuff I never noticed because, like, obviously you're not looking at it in the game. Okay, so number 2, like, close. Deny her the ability to get close to you by playing spots that she can't get to easily, especially without translocating. Another example is if there's a turret. If there's a turret, for example, and my Torb puts a turret back here, I could play like this angle. Because now the Sombra can't get close to me without engaging with the turret simultaneously. Obviously, I can shoot her when she's invisible, but like once she decloaks, she has to deal with the turret, which makes it much harder for her to consistently get the kill on me, or she'll die forward, right? So like that's another example where like preventing closeness is a problem. Number 3 here is the one that I think you should not actually do anything about, which is avoiding or dodging virus. This is not a time for you to be like, oh, I'm gonna be AD strafing like all over the crates to try to figure out, like, try to avoid the Sombra from virusing me. Because you have lots of good opportunities right now, and you can already do the other 2 factors here, right? Most notably playing this section, then when the card moves up, grapple over to here, and then you're good. You could slow play this until you know where the Sombra is, right? You could be like, try to strafe a little bit, take a shot, right? And immediately unscope and like start wiggling a little bit, take another shot, immediately unscope and start wiggling a bit. You could do that if you wanted to. But I think actually I feel reasonably safe just like playing in this spot right here and just getting ready for my Ana healing. I can even tap Ana healing, even with the health. I think especially at high ranks, they will understand why you're tagging it early. Is so you're trying to make them hyper aware of the fact that you're going to need that help. But Sombra be close next to you. So she's also hacking you, which hacking gives you so much time, honestly, to react. Like, the second this happens, I'm snapping and shooting. Right? Like, you gotta be... I mean, it's harder if you don't know there's a Sombra in the game. But if you know there's a Sombra in the game, this is 100% enough time for you to turn and shoot. Right? Either to take the scope shot, if you have enough scope energy, or to turn to immediately just using automatic fire, which will interrupt the hack. But... one thing I will note here is, when you're fighting the Sombra, you have 2 different perspectives as to how this fight's going to go. Perspective number 1 is, I must kill this Sombra in order for this to be a success. Option number 2 is, I must survive this Sombra, and this is a success. Those, like, different things happen. Like, in this situation, you don't need to force this kill. She has a huge advantage of you. You just need to survive. Even if you do 0 damage here to the Sombra, but you don't die, I would consider that a win for you. Now, why... If my goal is to survive, right, and not to get a kill, obviously it's hard to think about this stuff if you didn't know there's a Sombra in the game. But if my goal is to survive, I want to play as far back and as defensively as possible, right? So, just rolling this back a little bit. So the fight starts here, okay? at this point in time, look how much distance there is, right? This is a sizable amount of distance. This is, I don't know, 12 meters or so, right? This is a sizable amount of distance, and if I'm playing defensively, I want to maintain or increase that distance right now. So, right now, I want to get hacked. I turn, I start dodging, I might even dodge into this room, right? That is a way I could survive. Like, you see, you're really close to the door. Even with, especially with the hack, you have time to turn, just go down the stairs, and then as hack expires, just use this to grapple further away, right? Go over here, get your auto to help you. You 100% could survive here if you were trying to survive. But instead, what happens here? So instead of trying to get further away and playing your life, you're actually going to start running at her, right? She comes towards you, but you notice you're moving forwards right now. You're choosing to move forwards. And the closer you get, the more damage both parties will take, you and them. Which makes a ton of sense when you're a tank and you're running into a squishy, right? My goal is to optimize damage. Like I'm a Risa, I just want to run to your face so I can get headshots and kill you really quickly, right? But when you're playing as Widow against a Sombra who's ambushed you, you want the exact opposite mentality, which is I want to survive. I want to live as long as possible. It's not my job to get the kill right now, it's my job to live. But you're trying to force the fight right now when you could have escaped otherwise. See, your Ana is so close. Your Ana's actually aware. You see that dart come in right there. If you're playing this window, 100% you never die. No way that you die. Your Ana's aware right away, I think. Yeah, she sees the translocate right now. See? She's unfortunately reloading when the translocate goes off. Yeah, she should not have been reloading right now. But beyond that, she's ready right now. If you played literally anywhere here, the Sombra does not kill you. But that's not what you're doing, right? You're playing in a position where she can... See, she's trying to help you, right? That dart barely misses, right? And then you're in, you die. But again, playing slightly differently or playing your life, either one of them result in you surviving. And that's not including the fact is that you could have just not died to begin with better game sense and awareness. So we're giving you a lot of different tools here on how to deal with the Sombra, right? In that situation. Or in all situations, right? Because, again, these are all general things that we're looking for. Alright, I'm pushing up right now. What do we see? We've lost 2, including our tank. That means we can't do anything right now. I just need to play slow. But I have to remember that Sombra is in this game somewhere. And I don't know where she is. She just got a kill. If you knew where the Sigma was, you could have at least some idea of where she is. Right? So I see the Sigma is out here, right? So basically by their Sigma. So I know the Sombra's somewhere in main, right? It has to be somewhere in this general area, because she just killed the Sigma, and I just want to play my life. All I want to do is survive. Nobody expects me to get any picks right now. Just play my life. This is not playing your life. You're running over to try to help your Ana, but you have relatively limited ability to actually do anything, and it's quite likely that you'll actually stagger as well. I think you just want to play safe, right? You could just, for example, just grab up the high ground and be like, look, does my Ana need help? I can throw a mine over there. Someone's trying to pursue, and just play safe. But you're really, really far forwards right now, and you don't know where the Sombra is. The Sombra's going to be getting closer and closer. I would feel, it's almost like you play one of those horror games, like Alien Isolation. The Sombra is like a monster which is hunting you from the darkness. Every second where you haven't seen her is a second where she is getting into a better position to attack you. So this situation right now, where I'm here, I think, hey look, if the Sombra decloaks over here, am I dead? Possibly, right? It depends on whether or not my Ana sticks around to save me. If my Ana sticks around to save me, maybe we both die to the pursuers who are trying to stagger us. So I don't want to be down here. I don't want to be low ground, right? If I play high ground here, she could not possibly have gotten to me that fast because there's no way for her to quickly get to high ground from me, right? She'd have to run all the way over here to the back stair or all the way over here past my Ana, which is extremely unlikely, right? She could be under me, but she could not be on me. And that's a big difference. There's no reason for me playing high ground right now, or low ground right now. I would not use that mine there. I think it's very unlikely that's going to be helpful. But okay, Sigma's coming out right now, and you're like, okay, cool. Now we're following this out. I still think, I don't know where the Sombra is. I'm just going to assume she's in the worst possible position. Where is the worst possible position for the Sombra to be? Could be right here, right? Could be right here. Could be over here, right? Something like that. But I expect her to be very close to me right now. This is a really good example of at higher ranks, you just die right now. The Genji sees you, he hears you right now. He sees you. Right now, this is a deflect and you die. I'm just telling you, you could do it for now, but at higher ranks, you're gonna die here. If I ever see a Genji move this far out of the doorway, Like, he's crazy far away from the doorway right now, and just staring at me, he's 100% going to deflect and kill you with the headshot right now. So, just noting. In fact, what do you take damage by? Is the Shuriken? What actually hits you here? Oh, it's a Sigma shot. Alright. So, fine. We deflected. I would note that playing next to Sigma does not give me a lot of confidence as Widow if there's a Sombra in play. Sigma is not good at hitting small targets. Like, if it's Winston, yeah, no, Winston's great. Sombras aren't going to cloak next to a Winston, right? Because she's going to die. He's going to immediately force her to jump, to translocate, and he's going to jump and kill her. But, like, playing next to Sigma is not ideal. Like, it's really not going to help you all that much against people who are evasive. You see the Sigma here, but for the record, you should already have known he was there, because I think you get shot by the orbs. Orb? Is it just Shurikens that hit you? What the heck? Yeah, it's just a Shuriken that hit you. Okay, fine. So you see the Sigma right now, immediately go back in. Like, Sigma has declared, I am holding this angle, you cannot take a shot here. Fine, just go, just leave, right away. Now, where do you go from here? Well, I can't go upper, because the Genji's holding it. So, honestly, you don't have a lot of options here, right? Like, following your Sigma here is probably going to be bad, because eventually the Sigma's going to mirror, and then you're getting spammed out. I would probably say, hey, look, we're probably going to lose this point. Because the rest of my team is too far back, I can't really do anything here. I'd probably just grapple up the high ground and play safe. That happens sometimes, right? Widow is not good in these situations, trying to push into the enemy when they have angle control, right? You can't 1v1 anybody, right? You can't clear angles, you can't clear space. That's not your job. You just back up. It's okay to back up. Like, sometimes you just can't do it. Right? Your team has very low presence. But now we see you're sticking around. But as we already mentioned, avoid the Sigma. Wherever the Sigma is, just don't worry about it. Just go somewhere else. And I know you feel the anxiety of like, oh, I want to contest, I want to contest, I want to contest. There's really nothing you can do here, right? It's really nothing that you can do right now. I would just play safe. I don't think your team has any reasonable shot at trying to contest the point right now. But you see, you come out here again, you get hacked, right? Virus goes off, and now you get pursued, right? Kiriko, luckily, comes through and saves you. So Kiriko comes in, saves you, and then despite this, right, you're getting shot by the Sombra from the side, and so you're going to run over here, and then you run back into the Sigma, which I understand you're trying to dodge the Sombra, but the correct move would have been to dodge this way, run the Sigma, right? And then you're going to die anyway. That feels bad for your support, right? Like, your support gave you a lot of help here. Like, she comes over here. You could have even just, like, with the healing, just try to duel it out right now, or you could have tried to grapple this way, away. Like, you got options here that are not walk into the Sigma and die. Again, this happens very quickly, but, like, it goes back to, like, I don't even play up here. Like, you're already in such a bad position. Like, the second this starts, things have gone very poorly. Like, you have made a lot of mistakes to be in this spot right now. Like, I would have just gone back high ground and, like, just given it up. Because the fact that you did not give it up means your team can't set up at all. Right? There's no setup here to defend the gate here, which is, this is a strong spot to hold. But because your whole team is dead, they're going to push the cart for free. And, like, that has to be part of your general awareness, right? I can't remember if you play tank at all. But, like, you have to decide, where do we want to fight? And if you fight in bad spots, it means that you don't have the ability to fight in good spots on defense, right? Choose your battles carefully where you want to fight. And dying there means the cart moves for free. Great shot with Genji, right? So this is the time where it's actually okay to shoot Sigma because there's literally nobody else available. But like after this, I would immediately rotate, right? Rotate, try to find another spot. I want to keep looking for the Sigma here because, like, again, I would not expect. First of all, the Sigma, there's no way the Sigma's going to die. Okay, at higher rank, there's 0% chance the Sigma dies, even when he's low. He has too many options here to avoid dying. Once he realizes, or like he'll predict when you'll be able to kill him, he will survive. So I would immediately start rotating. Where are people going to be at this stage of the fight? They're going to be somebody who is on the cart, somebody who is climbing this way, and somebody who is going stairside, is the way this is typically going to go. You going to here does not help you with that, because you have such a small window to get people here. Just go over here, and you see that you get the shot on the honor right now. And I would know that even without replay view, where I can obviously see where people are, but like I would know just from just game sense, like where do people go in this map? This window is not the spot that you play for the first half of this point. Okay? For the first half of this point, actually, you could even divide this point into thirds. And I guess now we're getting to like map specific knowledge. This video is gonna be so long. It's funny because this video is like super long, even though the game's only 11 minutes long. So divide this point into 3 sections. Okay? It's like hard to get the right view here. Okay, so we'll do this. I love that. This will do. So the first third. So generally speaking, you will fight 2 of these 3 fights on this point, right? On Havana second. So there's 3 general ways that this point is going to be fought, right? So this area we're looking at is number 1. So this is the first possible fight. So in this situation, you have people who are coming in from 3 areas: main gate, right door, left door. All right. Now, and we know the left door can also go up the stairs. As Widow in this situation, my job is probably to hold off this section and this section, because there are lots of good angles that give you control of both. So, for example, if I play over here, I have really good sight lines of that, and I can see people who come over here. Alternatively, I can play over here, which gives me total control of this, and a lesser control of this, where if anybody's like rotating over, try to get the mini, something like that. Or I can play up here, which gives me phenomenal views of these 2, and to some degree the left door as well. Okay, that's the general idea as Widow. Is like for this first section of the point, I want to play up because I am safe, and there's relatively limited ways they can take. The other long shot option is to actually play out here. And I think this is as good as a change-up where the enemy team is not expecting you to do this. So for example, first fight, I play up here, right? I get some picks, and the team's like, oh, shoot, right? They respawn, they reset, they go again. And I know there's a soldier on the team, and instead of playing up here, because I know they know that I'm up there, because they saw me there last, I grapple over here, and I hard hold this corner. And what are the odds that soldier's just going to beeline around this corner in a straight line trying to take this off angle? Pretty high. And then you get a pick, and then you win the fight again. Right? That's an example of how game sense and shot quality is so important to playing Widow, is predicting how the enemy is going to react to you. Like, you already have, honestly, the hardest piece is the aim, right? Aim is the toughest part about playing Widow. Once you have the aim, picking up the game sense is relatively easy, especially if you play other heroes. So, like, that's an example where, like, this is good as a change-up, but it's not good as a primary option because most fights are going to be won by people flooding through these 2 doors, not the outside. No, not the outside avenue. So you might play here and hold here, but if nobody comes, your value is wasted, and eventually they pour through, and now you've lost control. So that's the first area of this fight. So the second area of this fight is when they've already come into the room, so they already have control of that space out there, right, and some degree of this bridge, and they have control of the stairs on the outside. Now things get trickier. Okay, because I can't stand here anymore, and I can't stand here because they can push me here, they can push me here, they can jump up, right, and get me. I cannot play here. So from there, as Widow, you'll typically rotate to a spot like over here, for example, where I can control this way, right? Or you might play, for example, this doorway, right, and play over here. Because again, just because they have control of this area doesn't mean they can go all the way over here. For example, if you have a soldier right here, they can't just push down those stairs on top of you, right? Soldier or Ana or anybody, like, they can't necessarily push down over there. So you could play this possible angle. You could even play these boxes, right, as a potential option. And to some extent, you can start playing this spot over here, right? This is used for like the kind of that middle section of the point. Now, that's the phase that we're in right now, which is, look, they control this, right? They can when I say control it, they can safely move here unmolested. They can walk up here right now for free. No one will stop them. They can walk over here and climb up or use a boost ability and get this for free. All of this space is theirs. Okay, they can safely take any of this space. That's like kind of when you play back. But I realize I'm contradicting myself a little from the beginning. But I think in this situation, only the Sigma is up right now, and your team right now has the momentum moving forwards. I would push up here, right? Because there's nobody else right now. Right, with the Genji dead, I think the Sombra Yunu died recently, or because she's responding right now. There's no DPS to apply any pressure, so I want to push this point back to the first area of the map. If the Sombra and Genji were alive, then a different story. I need to play back. But right now, I want to play up and fight this. The third part of the point is that awful section once the cart is over here, and then you have to push through these doors, right? That's no good. Like, that's a situation where, like, Widow is terrible. You're just not really going to get a good angle. You pretty much have to play, like, this door over here or hope somebody can bust through the top for you. Alright, so we go up here. Yep, Sigma's there. So you think about it, and you're like, okay, Sigma's here. Let's think, what's the information we have? First, we want to get away from the Sigma. But second, we know that the Sombra has respawned, and it's got to be somewhere, and the Genji's responding right now, and it'll eventually be a problem, but he isn't a problem right now. Honestly, there's not a lot to do right now. Just chill, right? So what you kind of do and see, hey, look, what's my Winston doing, and maybe I can follow up on that. Because wherever my Winston goes, as a reminder, I'm safe. So he goes right now. What could I do? I could grapple right up him, right? Nobody can kill me quickly from here, right? Especially with the Winston here. Like, nobody can kill me right now. Right? Winston can bobble if absolutely necessary. I could go up here and I could take a free shot. Free shot is in no danger of dying. But without that, like, what am I gonna do? This is a waste of time. What you're doing right now is a complete waste of time. This is a full health shield. Nobody else is shooting at this. It's gonna take you forever. What is this, like 120 damage with the rifle or something? It's 80 damage per second. Damage per second, right? It's like 120 DPS ish with the automatic fire. It's like 80 DPS with the scope. It will take you like 7+ seconds to kill this shield, right? It's gonna take 6 seconds for automatic fire. It's gonna take more than that with the scope shot. Don't even do it. Like, if you're gonna do this, at least just keep running and try to look for shots. But if I'm the Sigma here, I'm gonna hit you pretty consistently. That's what I'm saying. Look, just immediately reposition and try to get a kill. See how low you get? The Sigma should have just finished the kill on you right now. He's trying to, yeah. See, like, he gets pretty close to killing you right now with slightly better aim. You're dead. So, and you see right now, look, you grapple away because you get spooked, right? Which, again, fair, but like, you should never have gotten this low to begin with, but you wasted grapple here. Sombra's close. Why am I shooting the shield? You just heard the Sombra and saw the Sombra. Just come around the corner and take the headshot. Like, that's what you need to be doing right now. I'm not shooting the shield. This is a huge waste of time. So, you pop in for sight right now. In the interest of, like, time, I don't think I really want to talk about the infrastructure stuff. It's, like, already kind of exhausting doing the video as long as it is right now. But, we're looking for shots here. I think this is fair, because, like, you don't know what the Sombra is. Right? So, like, you're just trying to do the best you can with what you got. You dodge this. Great. So, looking for a shot. So, one thing to think about is, what's going to happen right after this? There's a very strong chance the Sigma is going to shoot this doorway. Right? Because he just saw your Ana. He's just trying to go for a lift. He's 100% going to shoot this doorway. You're going to get spammed along with your Ana. Don't do it. This is a situation where, especially with grapple coming off cooldown, I step and just drop down, right? Just drop down here and look for something. Look for anything. Because if the Genji tries going on you, you can always grapple back up and you'll have your Ana, hopefully, to help save you, right? Or you could grapple up here and maybe try to take another shot. But like, the fight is definitely happening in earnest. Your Sombra's already dead. You need to get a pick here. Without a pick, there's no way you're going to win this fight anyway, so this is where you need to start taking risks. And I talk about that a lot in my videos, which is like, the amount of risk you take on must be proportional to what is needed for the situation. If we are in a 5-on-5 situation with plenty of time, I am not taking a lot of risks. If we are in a 3v5 situation, I'm taking a ton of risks, because there's no way for us to flip this unless I make a massive play. So this is already at the point where you're down, right? They have control of a lot of space. You need to look for a pick, right? You have to be aggressive right now. So there's Genji, and then you can die. But like, why do you die here? You're going to die here because you're getting spammed along with everybody else. They're all just looking at you, right? Then you get chipped again by the Sombra, right? And now when the Genji comes in, Genji plus, like, even if the Genji didn't kill you, like, you're still dead here, right? Which is what I'm saying. Just drop right now and then be comfortable playing out in space like that rather than getting spammed out with your Ana. So, you go up here. Obviously, there's, like, no way to contest this. Even if you hit this headshot, I don't think it makes a difference. But I will note that you saw the translocate right there. I would then peek this window, because now the Sombra's not playing close. If she's playing close, then, you can die. But like, in this situation, you can peek here, or you can try out and go peek this way. At least now you can try. But Genji's a little on your right, so you would have been in trouble anyway. Kitsune gets pops, and now we have to try to go for this. This is tough. Yeah, I mean, right now, I think you're doing the right thing. Is that you're just trying to get a kill, right? You kill this end. Yeah, aim is great. Like, whenever you get chances to shoot, like, it's good. which is why we should be looking for more chances for you to shoot and not be dead. But like beyond that, like there's really nothing else you can do. That's an example of like that third fight scenario where like Widow is terrible at those recontest situations at the last second, right? That's where like Reaper, Tracer, Mei, etc. are much stronger, but Widow is like awful at those. So like if you were like trying for real, like if I knew here, like for example, if I knew hypothetically like Kitsune's gonna get popped here and we're seriously contesting, I would 100% have swapped off Widow in the situation, right? Like literally any DPS here is better than what you have in this situation. Like even like Symmetra here would be way better. You like this is absolutely terrible to be playing Widow in this situation. Like they also have 4 ultimates here. You guys are doing a terrible job of ult economy. They're just winning fight after fight after fight without needing to use anything. And a big part of that is because you keep dying, right? Like your team, which I think is also, there's also like a team problem here, because like your team is just not in sync in terms of like you are making a ton of mistakes and your team isn't doing a good enough job covering for your mistakes to allow you to make plays, because you can get kills if you stay alive. But like you're also like, what can your team do about these situations? Like Sigma's pushing into you, your team can't stop him from doing that. Not Winston, but Winston is the correct call here. Like Winston 100% is the best possible hero in this situation, or was in this situation. All right, so back to thinking through what information do we have? Well, we hear the shooting right now, right? So we hear the Sombra is out there. So even without replay, I hear the Sombra is near the cart. Translocate comes up. Now, let's think about this. If I knew the Sombra was out there, I don't have to worry about her flanking and coming in here, right? It's very unlikely in a situation with the cart that far away that the Sombra has somehow magically gotten to our spawn. The Sombra has to be somewhere out here, even if I hadn't heard the shooting, which means the only way for her to encroach on me quickly is by translocating up here. So why don't I put the Widowmine up, right? You had Widowmine the whole time. The Widowmine should already be out, and she should be hitting the Widowmine. That's number 1. Number 2, you see the translocate, and you start taking the duel. Okay, fine. Back to, is this a situation where I need to get the kill, or is it a situation where I need to live? All you have to do is live, right? Your supports are really close. Just like zigzag back to the edge of the corner, like get healed here, force the Sombra back, then go back and re-peek. That's a win. But you see how you get so close to the Sombra, which does a ton of damage, but then you die for it. And you see your Kiriko comes in and tries to save you. But she's just slightly too slow because you're speeding up the duel by getting closer to the Sombra. Just get further away from her. She has massive spread on her shots, right? Just get distance from her. You see, you're chasing her, right? She's trying to get away. You're chasing into her, which is what makes it so easy for her to get the kill. Like, this is the stuff that's literally killing you, right? It's not even like her aim is amazing. Look, see? Like, she's all over the place. She only starts landing shots because you run into her crosshair. All you have to do is play back and you stay alive, right? Remember, 3 pieces, right? No healing, and close, and Lynn's Virus. If I just prevent her from being overly close to me, she's not going to get the kill. Like, honestly, her aim is not particularly good. At higher ranks, Sombra will be much better at tracking you, and it's going to get even worse. So you're going to have even less time to survive. Alright. Get your blades pop, you look for it, obviously, it's good, right? Kill the Ana, great. Sombra on top of you, you take a shot. So this is a situation where I actually think the correct call is to try to get the kill, because you know you're not going to get any help from your team because of the blade. So in this situation where I'm expecting the duel to the death, I don't necessarily know that I'm running into her face. I'm just noting that in this situation, I know that this is a duel to the death, no matter what. I would have put the mine further up, though, because you see that she hits it really late. But, yeah. Alright, we're going to come back out again. Alright, so hack goes off. Stay alive. Okay, great. Yep, grapple out. I agree with this. I think good job doing that doorway. Look for the Ana. Barely miss her. Look for the Zen. Yep. Okay, so you know Sombra's in the door. Just throw the mine, right? Just throw the mine right in front of her. Because I want to flush her out as soon as possible because she's putting pressure on my tank from behind. Okay, now she's translocating on top of you. So the second she does this, what's my response? I don't have full scope, right? I'm only at 34%, and I'm like basically a stationary target, and she's translocating on top of me. My option here should be to just grapple away, right? The odds of you winning, like think about it. How comfortable do you feel winning this fight? 0 to 100% scale. 100%? Obviously not. 50%? I don't think so, right? The Sombra, I mean, she's translocating really high in the air for some reason. But like, I would say she's going to be pretty favored here as long as she has virus, right? Like, she's probably 60, 70% favored. I don't want to take that fight. Why would I take a fight where I'm only 30% chance for me to win? Just grapple away. I could literally just grapple over here, right? Try to kill somebody else, or just try to fight her from further away. Anything to get me farther away from her is good for me. But instead, you're going to hard scope here. She comes down, lands the easy virus, and gets the kill. Look at it from her perspective. She translocates here. Again, no need for her to hack, but... right? She viruses, right? And then now, this is an easy kill for her. The only... except that her aim is terrible. the only scenario that you could get this kill is if you landed that headshot, which is an incredibly high bar to put on yourself. Like, you cannot base winning or losing games on whether or not you can hit this headshot right now. That is not a reliable way to win games at any level of play. Right? Even top 1 Widow is not going to hit this shot consistently. It's too hard. Right? Like, there's so much pressure on you, and you might still die from the hack. So from the virus. So like, you can't force this as your gameplay situation. Okay? I think you would grapple. First of all, I would mine right away to flush her out. Because if you mine in front of her, she's not going to walk into the mine and then translocate, right? She's probably going to translocate back to her team, which is great. That again gives me space to then peek and start trying to get kills. But once she starts coming at me, either grapple this way or grapple this way back into the spot. You have so many options. Well, two big options here. But like, none of those options are hard scoping and making really easy kills. Like, you already see it, she can't aim. If you're just regular AD strafing, she can't hit you. It's only when you're running into her face or you are stationary / scoped that she's getting any kills. I would note that you don't stay in the windows, which is what I recommended to know where people are. So the second I come out and I see this, first of all, I would note the wide peak here. You jumped out so far that you are exposed to all 3 windows, which means if there's a Widow here or a Widow here, now you die because you're looking at the wrong window, right? Don't over peak situations. What you can do, and if you've ever played like Counter-Strike or Valorant, you'd be very used to this, you clear angles one by one. If the only 3 angles we had to worry about, which is not true, but if the only 3 angles we had to worry about with the windows, I could go out here, crosshair up, and I can be like, oh, anybody in window 1? No. Anybody in window 2? No. Anybody in window 3? Yes, take the shot. Right? And the reason why is like, you could also have windows playing like low ground over here. But like, that's a really good example where, again, I think the best Widow players are ones who come from tactical shooters, right? Whether or not it be Counter-Strike or Valorant or Siege, where they're very used to creating these small advantages, right? And minimizing small disadvantages, which are not that big a deal for Overwatch, which is much more forgiving in that regard, right? Overwatch requires like way more game sense and like, I would say, non-standard mechanics than those other games do. But like, in terms of like the nitty-gritty like FPS 101s, like they're just, the fundamentals are so much more important in those games because there's not a lot else, right? So you wide peek this, you hit by the Ana, I immediately leave. So remember, two things. Number 1, where is the Sombra? If I don't know where she is and she's had enough time, I assume she is in the worst possible spot for me. Where is the worst possible spot for me as Widow? Well, like right here. Like, you can see, you are dead. Even without virus, you're dead right now if she's right here. So, or even right here, you're still dead. So, doing anything here in this situation is crazy because the Sombra alone is a massive threat. Number 2, Widow kills you in 3 shots. She already hit shot number 1. She has enough time here, especially the shield up, to hit me 2 more times, which is exactly what happens here. The Sombra didn't even need to do anything. You're gonna die from the dart no matter what. Like, this is really sloppy play. Like, of the things you've done, this is probably the worst play that you make all game, is trying to continue that fight after the Ana already hits you. To some extent, I feel some degree of, like, your aim is so good that you're often using it to try to solve other problems caused by bad decision-making. Right? As you say, like, your aim is, your game sense decision-making is maybe not so strong. So you're trying to use your aim to, like get through a situation. Like, for example, the Sombra jump shoot, right? Instead of trying to think, oh, how do I get away? How do I avoid her being able to jump me? You're like, let me just try to scope and kill her. And you land them sometimes. But, like, that can't be the play, right? It is not consistent enough. All right. This is a good example where you land it. But I would note, this Sombra really cannot aim. She's, like, right next to you, and this aim is really bad. But she misses the virus. See? She missed the virus. We just saw it fly by. Like, that's a huge aspect of, like, why this is die, right? But, like, this aim is really bad. So, for a stationary target, at like, you know, let's say Masters, the Sombra's hitting, like, 90% of her shots there. Like, another wide peak. So, thinking about this right now, like, they can't stay in these windows forever, and they're also not slowing down the card at all. I don't worry about, like, oh, let me hard scope here, right? I think, where are they going to go from here? Well, from here, they have to rotate down, out this window, over to here. So why don't I catch them when they're rotating? So either A, move up here aggressively, right, and try to catch them in this angle, or B, rotate into the building over here, and then control this angle. Because think about it. If I control this angle right now, if you, right away, like, when you were re-peeking this at this moment, like, after you kill the Sombra, you look and you're like, oh, okay, they're going to stay there. This is like you just grapple over here, right? Granted, this is a tracer, but ignore the tracer for a second, right? If you grapple over here and you control this angle, they're screwed. The supports are never going to be able to leave the building, you know? Because, like, the second they step out here, they're eligible to be killed by you, right? Now, the tracer is here, which means that's probably better to move up this way and control the angle over here instead. But either way, just standing here and staring at them is not the play. Okay, so you're going to make... sorry. That last play I said was the worst one you made of the game. I think this is the worst play you make of the game. So, you're reloading and you're walking back to the fight. Right? You're walking up here. There's a very important thing that is going on right now, which is your Ana is fighting a Zen at close range somehow. I don't know how this happened, but somehow this has happened. Now, your Ana's going to hit the sleep dart right now, which means Zen should be dead here. I would also note your Ana is very low, right? Your Ana has like 50, 20, not even 27 health right now. Right? Your Ana's 27 health right now. You should kill the Zen. And this feels obvious, but you should kill the Zen. You are not killing the Zen. You take the shot out here. The Zen is still sleeping. The Ana is pinging the Zen. Then you grapple past the Zen. And then, not only that, the Zen is going to kill your Ana. If I was your Ana, I would be so tilted. Because it's not like this happened like way in the back line or on a flank. It was literally in front of you. It happened in front of you. Like, even if you didn't see it, the audio cue of the sleep, right? Followed by the ping. Like, you can't beat this tunnel vision. This is nuts. You have to kill the Zen in this situation. Oh, this is brutal. It's even worse because you guys never tapped the first point, right? Like, this is a massive play. This would be a two-person swing, right? Ana lives, Zen dies. That's a huge play. Yeah. So, Sombra on top of you. But again, why is she able to come on top of you, right? Because she's able to pursue you for free, right? I mean, partially you're grappling right now, but like your supports aren't able to help because you just didn't kill the Zen. Which means now when she translocates up, like now this is a super hard fight, and you're gonna die. Just literally killing the Zen there, the sleeping Zen, is like the difference between winning or losing the first point. So, I see the Sigma here. What do? Oh, I want to challenge the Sigma. So I can go to the left, but the problem is I can't clear the left, so that's fine. Just go to the right, right? Just go to the right, right? Try to get to these doors or something like that, or just wait for a second for your tank to come out and clear the Sigma himself, right? This is fine. Great, he's cleared it. Look for the tracer. You have to be careful here, yeah. So, this is tough because your supports are next to you, but you're getting shot by two people here right now, right? The tracer and the Sombra. The second you hear the Sombra uncloak, you need to stop scoping. Right now, I immediately stop scoping and I strafe like this, at this angle, right? That way, this might not be obvious to viewers, so I'm going to demonstrate this. If they're both shooting at me at this angle, then the best way for me to strafe is this way. Because if you strafe this way, the Sombra kills you. If you strafe this way, the Tracer kills you. So you have to strafe this way to maximize your evasiveness against both. So you need to not be holding this scope right now, because that's where all your damage... Look how fast that damage comes in, right? You're at 200 health right now, right? And then you get absolutely shredded by the Sombra, who, for the record, cannot aim. But it's really easy to aim when you are basically not moving, right? Her accuracy is functionally perfect right now, and no one can out-heal that, because... And she could have killed you right now if she just aimed higher and went for the head, right? Like, this is very sloppy play on your part. Right? You just need to respect the ambush potential of Sombra, especially when you are stationary. All right. So you're messing around with the Sombra, with the Tracer, yeah. So this is like kind of a better reaction where like at least you hear the Sombra right away. So right there, you need to already unscope, but you're like a little bit slow. And I think at higher ranks, you'd be a little bit faster and not have died here. Alright, so your team's finally created some space. I would note that you've basically done nothing, right? Other than killing that Sombra early on, you've done functionally nothing, and your team's pouring a lot into trying to keep you alive. So, I look at this, I'm like, look, can I get this kill here? Probably not. It's going to be tough. I mean, I think the Sigma just completely abandons the Ana here. There's no reason for the Sigma. I guess the Sigma's trying to save the Zen here, but that's like a mistake, because the Zen's going to die here no matter what. The Sigma needs to be backing up towards the Ana, and then he needs to get the shield back up. But fine, right? Sigma moves out of the way, gives you a free kill in the Ana. Unfortunately, you miss it. So, right now, you reload with 2 shots left. And this goes back to, you need to stop reloading when shots are available. You knew the Zen was on the left. You know if you step out the door, the Zen is available to the left. You have 2 shots here, take the shots. You cannot be reloading right now. And now you see the Zen's not available anymore. Because the Zen's like, oh shoot, there's a Widow, right? Because the Zen's not expecting you to come out of the door. Your advantage of surprise is right now coming out this doorway. You come out the doorway, looking to the left, you take the shot on the Widow, on the Zen. Even if you don't get a kill, right? Even body shot or just not a fully charged headshot, still worth it, right? Helps your Risa kill the Zen really easily. All right, grapple out, that's good. I would have used the opportunity to grapple up the high ground, but the Sombra's up there, so actually it would have worked out. I would note, right? So here, why are you shooting the tank? A. B, why are you shooting the nano tank? This goes back to, don't shoot tanks. Overwhelming rule, do not shoot tanks. You still know the Zen is in play over here. The Zen is in play here the whole time. In fact, the Zen nearly dies here. Right now, you have the ability to shoot that Zen. Imagine you didn't shoot a shot at the Sigma, but you fully powered body shot on the Zen. Look how low the Zen is going to get. 172, 153, 114, 94, 75, 57, 38 trance. If you did 38 points of damage, the Zen doesn't get the trance off. And that's a big difference. That's a huge difference to the way this fight turns out. Right? Granted, the Zen shouldn't have waited this long, right? The Zen's obviously not very good because getting that low was recklessly dangerous, right? I think a better Zen would have tranced at like 150, just in case to make sure you didn't die. But like that's your job right there, is kill the Zen. You knew the Zen was there the whole time. You saw, you heard it, right? You have all the indications. Taking the shot in the Sigma is like absolutely terrible. I know that you think, hey look, maybe I can deny the flux, but he's nanoed. Even if he wasn't nanoed, like I still don't think it's worth it. The odds of you interrupting the flux is like near 0. Right? I mean, killing his pushes here is 100% the right call. Right call looking for the Ana, you obviously don't get it. You look for the Sombra, that's good, right? You're reacting, you're learning, like, hey look, the Sombra is a problem. You translate, have wall hacks, right, to get vision on the Sombra. So Sombra's gonna be pushing me. So there's no need for me to be scoping right now. Like she hears me, she knows I'm coming. So what do? I put down mine first, then I take the fight. But no mine, and so like after you take the shot, then fight it with automatic because you're massively in the lead right now, right? You've only taken 41 points of damage, right? She's taken 120. So you're ahead by 29 health. Just shoot it out. Oh, she actually wins the virus though. But like this, trying to scope here, this is not the call. And like, again, this Sombra cannot aim. Like, you see what I mean? Like, just duel her normally. Like, I feel like you kill the Sombra with a Mercy Pistol. This is not particularly difficult. Like, the fact that you're stationary is the only reason she ever lands any shots on you. That's a very wide peak. Yeah, I would 100% have grappled away from that because that was potentially going to kill you. Alright. I think that's good headshot and signal, right? You don't have any other options. And mine is okay. Unfortunately, you miss it. Shit. So, the problem here is that you're getting ambushed by both DPS. So you're actually going to see/hear them coming. So you know the Tracer is there. you see the top of her head, and you would probably see like in game the overhead of the name bar. You hear the blink right now. Like my volume's turned down, but like you can hear the tracer this whole time. It's not like she's crouching; she's just running the whole time, which means now she gets over here and she gets to ambush you at this moment in time. So trying to take this fight was a bad idea. What you need to do is keep shifting forwards with your team, then start taking shots to make sure you don't get isolated on the end like this against both DPS. I still don't think it's a great situation. Like, honestly, I don't think Widow's like good in this spot where you have like two flanking heroes coming at you in different directions with cover. But like, you know, we're trying to make the best of the situation, right? Like, this is just objectively, you're not putting yourself in position to succeed. And that's basically it. Okay. That was a lot. I'm not going to summarize because that was a tremendous amount of stuff. I'm going to answer the rest of your questions. If the enemy Widow is scoped in, then I have no choice but to peek her. Grapple on cooldown, repositioning not possible. How should I peek her? So you're going to give me some options. I think number one is you're basically never going to be in this situation. And I think the fact that you're trying to construct the situation tells me that it's kind of like it's one of those, if I'm in a bad spot, what do I do now? And the best answer is don't put yourself in a bad spot. Why would I be in a situation where I do know how to grapple and I cannot reposition and I'm forced to peek her? Why don't I have the option to simply not peek? You know what I mean? Like, why is that? It's such a weird situation to be in where I'm like, what, is it like overtime? And like, you know, she's like pushing the cart and the cart's 1 meter from winning the game and I have to take a shot. Like, how often is that going to happen? This is not even going to be 1% of your situations. But the problem is, I feel like if I answer this question, you're going to think, oh, I'm going to use this advice and try to do the thing. But the problem is, you're going to apply it when it's not necessary, when the better option is to not peek. So I would say is, if the Widow is already scoped in on a spot, your best option is to not peek her, right? Because if you peek her, you are relying on the fact that she is not going to kill you with her shot or not react fast enough. Those are bad things to rely on because Widows get very good. Like, they exponentially get better as you go up through the ranks. They get extremely good, and relying on the enemy Widow being bad mechanically is not a consistent strategy to win games. I would always rather outsmart my opponent than I would have to brute force my opponent, right? I don't want to win against my opponent by being stronger than them. I want to win against my opponent by being smarter than them. If I'm also stronger than them, great. But if I'm already stronger than them, I don't need to worry about any game system. I'm just going to out-mechanics them the whole game regardless. The point is, you're going to run into games where the enemy is like, well, they're better than me, right? Like, mechanically, like they can out-aim me, they're faster, etc., etc. But you can still win by playing better than them overall. So, again, I think this is kind of a dangerous question, because no matter how I answer this, I don't want it to be interpreted as, okay, I should always do this. No, what you should do is, if they're peeking and holding the angle already and they know it, don't peek that angle. It is that simple. Like, let's imagine like a really straightforward situation. Okay? Let's imagine that we only have 2 doors here. Right? If the enemy Widow is standing here, right, and they are looking at this door, and I am the Widow here, your question is, how do I peek this? What is the best way to peek this? And my advice would be, why are you doing this? Just go out this way. Right? And I know she's holding the angle, just go out the other door. And then I have a massive advantage on her. Like, that's the way you do this. Like, even when you look at tactical shooters, right? You look at Counter-Strike, for example, right? I use Counter-Strike a lot because I play Counter-Strike a lot. So, in Counter-Strike, how you peek this, you don't. You flashbang it, right? You throw a flash out because they're looking at it, it blinds them, or they turn away from it. Then you step out, and now you have the advantage because they're either unable to see when you go out, or they're looking away from you, so you have the advantage of surprise, right? That is the way that you take this corner, not by figuring out some other way of like forcing the issue with like this ego battle, because the reality is that even if I give you an option with 55% chance of winning, if you go out this way, you have like a 90% chance of winning this fight if you go out the other door. Like, it's really that simple, is don't force bad fights. But You did ask the question, so I will still answer the question. Again, with a caveat that any of these options are going to be misleading. All right, so going back to, if I absolutely have to force this peek, how do I do it? Option 1, slow peek around the corner, revealing as little as possible. Option 2, clicking scope as I come out of the corner so my initial peek speed is slightly faster. Option 3, jump peeking in a way that the initial arc is not visible, so drop right at the edge, and then tapping crouch just before I shoot. You mentioned you watched somebody else's unranked GM. He does a third peek, jump peek all the time. Though I heard that jump peeking is sometimes bad. Is bad sometimes without even crouching. 4, slow peek but crouching a bit before shooting, just like the Valorant peek. So that's I actually really like that one. I use that all the time in Counter Strike, right? Where you slide out and you crouch. Oh, I realized the lower and raise verticality buttons are bound to replay forward and backwards for me. So I physically can't do it. But you go out and you crouch down. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's a crouch peek, right? So 4 we'll call it a crouch peek. 5 is you jump out and you look down and do a 360 while scoping and then tap crouch. This is a technique you see high-ranked Widows do after they fail their grapple shot. They spin while looking down. Obvious downside is the crosshair placement is not possible, obviously. If you force the flick, I've only been able to do this a few times in Widow headshot lobby. I'm not sure this hitbox manipulation is worth it. This feels extremely demanding. Yeah, this goes back to... this question is terrible. I know why you're asking it, because you're trying to force a fight because you want to fight right now. But, it's inherently... Pretty much all these options are bad. That's the short answer. Pretty much all these options are bad. How would I do it? I think there's some nuance here in terms of the game engine, and I think that this is a question that really only, I think, high-level Widow players can answer. But I'm going to answer it from the best of my perspective. So let's say hypothetically, I need to peek. Actually, let me do it this way. Okay, so Widow's there. Widow's already holding the angle. How do I go out here? So you got a few options, right? So option number 1 is you slowly walk around the corner and you take the shot. So this is actually a good option if you know exactly where she is. And when I say exactly, I mean pixel perfect know where she is. But that does happen sometimes where there's a very narrow angle that she could possibly be holding, through, for example, 2 doorways. This happens a lot when you have something that looks like this, for example, and the Widow is here, and she's looking through a very narrow slice, and that is the only possible spot she can stand. So I think that's actually, the slow peek is perfectly fine as long as it's a slow peek with a pre-fire. Because if you pre-fire the shot, in most scenarios, it is literally impossible for them to kill you first, even with an aimbot. The reason being is that you have peeker's advantage, right? So I'm not going to repeat. I've talked about peeker's advantage a lot. You can look it up online. But the short answer is, because of the way game engines work, whoever peeks first is going to see the enemy before the enemy sees them, because there's latency with the internet. So my computer already knows where the enemy Widow is. It's just not showing it to me. That way, when you go around the corner, it's going to show you the Widow is here. Right? Otherwise, it's not going to go around the corner and ask the server, is there a Widow visible? And then have the information come back. Because if it did that, then the area would look invisible. It would look open. Then a Widow would suddenly teleport into existence. Right? That's the concept of peeker's advantage, is that my computer already knows where the enemy is. That's why hacks are possible. I just want to be able to, if I know exactly where she is, if I pre-fire, I come around the corner and shoot, there is a good chance she will die before even being able to hit the button, even with an aimbot. Because she will not have received the signal that you had turned the corner until something like 100 milliseconds later, right? 100 to 150 milliseconds later. So I think option number 1 is viable if you know exactly where they are. Now, if you don't know exactly where they are, and you need some degree of reaction, then it's bad. Because they're going to see your slow peek go around the corner, and then they're going to see your shoulder first, and then they'll have the advantage to take the shot on you. Basically, if it takes you more than 0.1 seconds to take the shot, you should not slow peek. But there are times where you can pull this off by pre-firing, which is also a really strong technique in tactical shooters as well. Option number 2. Clicking scope just as I come out of the corner, so my initial peek speed is slightly faster. So this is referring to you step out and then you take the shot. This is legitimate. I would say that there's a lot of variance to this, right? Like, peek 1 is, man, there's like so many possible variants of this. So there's short peek and take the shot. There is wide peek and take the shot. Then there is wide peek, but then you come back and then take the shot. So all 3 are possibilities. I think the first option is bad. I think that this is, if they're already pre-aiming the corner, you're basically going to stop in their crosshair, and that's not good. I think wide peek number 1 is an option, for sure. And I think that's probably the best option against high-level competition of these options. Option number 3, I think, is a really good option against Widows who are not as good, which you might even run into at high-level competition where people are not Widow mains, but they're switching to Widow to counter you because they're going to struggle more with pulling the crosshair back to take the shot. Right? And I think these are exaggerated. I wouldn't actually go out this far. But I'm just noting, I think option 2 and option number 3 are viable, but not option number 1. Alright. Peek number 3 is jump peeking. So the initial arc is not visible. So jumping from here and landing here. I would say yes. I think this is viable. I think if you had to peek, if you knew, if I do a wide peek, I'm 100% going to die, then yes, I think jump peeking right to the edge is probably your best possible option. Right? Because there's going to be some degree of verticality they see, which for most players is going to cause them to flick upwards briefly, which might give you the advantage to take the shot. So I think this is viable. If you absolutely are like, there's no way, like there's a bob or something like, there's no way for me to peek more than 1 meter from the corner, I think this is viable. 4, slow peek but crouching a bit before shooting, like quote unquote like the Valorant peek. I've never tried this in Overwatch. I will say not consistently enough to know how I feel. I will say that in Counter-Strike, it has felt incredibly good. Because people hold their crosshairs at head level, you crouch, and especially if you pre-aim above their head, right? If you pre-aim above their head as you crouch and your crosshair goes down to head level, it becomes a very fast shot where you already have the muscle memory from having done it a lot, and they probably don't, because it's not something they run to very often. So I like it a lot. I think the problem is you need to go relatively wide from the corner to get your whole body out. I like physically did the dodge in real life. So I think that makes it tougher. My intuition is I think it's viable. I think that if you did it more than once in the game, the Widow's going to headshot you when you crouch. Is my feel. I feel like it's good as a changeup, but not as the primary way that you try to take the corner. Again, don't do this. All of these answers are misleading because I don't think you should do this in general. You almost always have a better option than it is to force a fight at an angle the Widow's already holding. Your number 5 option is where you jump out and do a 360. I think this is insane. I think it's wildly inconsistent. And I don't think Widow turning head down does enough to reduce her hitbox that it's worth it. Especially compared to the massive inaccuracy it gives you. I think that's insane. Yeah, don't do that. Wow. Alright, so second question is when both Widows use infrasights, should I be the one holding the scope or the one peeking? I've been at both ends where if I hold the scope I get killed even before she appears on my screen, or when I'm the one peeking I get instantly deleted despite having pixel perfect pre-aim. Widows counter infrasight all the time. I honestly don't know how to bring it to my advantage. Sorry for the wall text. Okay, yeah. So this is yeah. So this goes back to number one, where I talked about pre-firing, right? The reason why you die, even when you can see them, is because of Peeker's advantage. Because they can shoot first. Because whoever clicks the button first is going to win. The problem is your perception of their movement is always going to be like about 100 milliseconds slower than theirs. Right? Because that signal has to get from them to the server to you. Right? And if you assume average ping is like 50 milliseconds, that means that they get that fraction of a second advantage on top of you. And because they can line it up, they can literally shoot it before you have the ability to shoot. Like, even if you had a physical aimbot, right, that would guarantee you hit, the moment that you're visible, you would still lose. Because on their screen, their shot is fired first, and it's going to reach the server first, and the server is attacker favored, shooter favored, so they will still kill you first, right? So this goes back to, should you be holding the angle, or should you be fighting pushing the angle? If you had to fight it, I would choose to be the one who was peeking, not the one who was holding. I would say I generally don't. I personally, when I play Widow, which I don't play a lot of, but when I play Widow, I generally do not want my game to revolve around whether or not I can kill the opposing Widow. I want to revolve around if I can get more value than the Widow does by killing other members of her team faster than she can kill me. Because the enemy Widow is just purely trying to kill me, I can just keep evading her and killing her team. Right? Which is a lot easier than trying to ego duel and take the 1v1. Because I don't feel comfortable that I'm going to win it. Obviously, if I'm like, look, I win like 80% of my Widow duels, yeah, I would duel the Widow all day. But I don't. So, like, that's not good for me. And if you want to take that path, that's up to you. I'm just noting that, just statistically, it's not a good fight for me. Okay. That was a lot. I don't even know how long this video is. Who knows? Hour and a half? Something like that. Alright. I'm going to hold there. Again, no summary because this is crazy long already. And hopefully this was helpful.